Now, a lot of folk around me have been sharing how money issues have been affecting them lately. Now, wealth, money and abundance, there's a lot of stories and definitions from which can come a lot of mixed intentionality, a lot of confusion and a lot of pain. So today, I'm going to share my perspective and offer you some non-personal insights that will help you untangle the knots of abundance blocks. Plus, I'm going to give you 3 steps you can take to get clear on what truly matters to you and plug into your natural wealth stream. So, cha-ching, let's jump in. Hit it, Kim.
Welcome to the Be a Brilliant Human podcast. You're in the right place if you're a growth-seeking being who acknowledges the challenges and delights of your humanity on the path to an ever more conscious life. If you want to feel inspired to love and accept yourself, to feel free to be and express you in all your brilliance, if you want to truly value yourself and others and feel energized and alive both at home and in the world, then sit back and take a breath as you explore and grow the brilliance of your beautiful human self with your host, the father of non-personal awareness and creator of the MPA process, Joel Young.
Hello, and welcome to the Be a Brilliant Human podcast with me, Joel Young. I am delighted that you're here. We are at episode number 96. Which means you can find the show notes at www.beabrillianthuman.com/96. And you've got 95 previous episodes to binge watch if you're brand new here, and welcome if you are. And we're also very close to our 100th episode. Over the last few episodes, I've been saying how I would love to hear from you. And I've had some feedback from people and some suggestions of the episodes they like, and that's what I'd love to hear. If you've been listening for a while, even just for a little while, out of the episodes you've listened to, which of them has touched you? Which of them has kind of you've gone, oh, that's my favorite, or somehow affected you in a positive way? Let me know. You can do that. Just get in touch. You can do it via social media. Mostly I'm at Joel Young MPA, so on like Twitter and Instagram and that kind of thing. If you're a Facebooker, go to MPA Rocks. There'll be a post every week for the podcast. You can leave a comment there or send me a private message or DM on any of those platforms. And you can also go straight to our website, www.beabrillianthuman.com. And there's a button there that says leave a message. You can even leave me a voice message there if you're feeling brave. And I can put your perspective on the show. Wouldn't that be fab? And of course, you can send me an email, joel@nonpersonalawareness.com. I'd love to hear from you as we get ready and prepare for our centenary episode. All right, today we're talking about money issues, really, stuff like that. Now, if you resonate with the whole idea of having money issues, and I know, as I said in the intro, a lot of people around me are sort of talking about having money issues, then make sure you stick around to the end. I have got something very special to offer you, and you're going to want to hear about it. So make sure you stick around at the end when I'll be talking about that. And for right now, we're going to start talking about, if you want wealth, you've got to get connected to what truly matters. So let's talk a bit about that. Let's dive into the show. Here we go. So here's the thing. If you want to be and feel wealthy, you're going to have to start getting really honest with yourself about what truly matters. Now, I talk about you mattering, what matters to you mattering. Matter, I love the word. It's a fantastic word. Matter is a word that speaks to the formation of the universe. It's like quantum forces pulling energy waves into states of tension that give rise to this apparent solidity. It's energy in tension. Or you probably caught the phonics simile there. Energy in tension. This is how your personal reality comes into being, and what truly matters, becomes more apparent in your field of experience. So if you want to know what truly matters, you have to look around your life and notice, what there's already an abundance of. This isn't about sort of positive or negative, because when you want to discover what truly matters, you need to look around with a sort of a neutrality and noticing. There's a lot of this stuff around, positive thinking and, only focus on the positive. But the matter that is around you, the stuff in your life, the stuff that's already in abundance of, it's actually an effortless process. And if we're looking at how, our energy and our states and our attractor factor happens in our lives, we can start to discover, what we're really good at mattering, at manifesting already. If you're willing to have that neutrality, it's like a sober inquiry. It helps you get it kind of clears that hallucinogenic fog, or that sort of the bias of negative or positive thinking that we're so often kind of enmeshed in. And when you do this, it actually has the potential to drop you into sort of a really aligned clarity and a kind of an awareness of that sort of intrinsic abundance of your existence. And the point of doing this is, it gets you connected to what matters. Again, positive or negative, however that seems right now, it's the difference between having your fingers on the stuff of life and the ability to move it, as distinct from just kind of running your fingers through empty space. I mean, basically, when you're connected to what matters, you begin to have a much greater impact, when those wonderful intentions arise. So you kind of got to ask yourself, does your story of wealth match the reality of your wealth? Now, if the story of wealth is that, it's all about large amounts of money, and you have very little, and the fact is money doesn't truly matter to you. It's literally not mattering. It's not coming into matter in your life. And once you notice, what there is a wealth of, and therefore what matters to you, you'll automatically begin to feel the power and the flow of your innately creative and abundant self. Even if it's subtle and, even if what matters seems, well, a bit rubbish at first. But the thing is, once you're aware of what truly matters, if it doesn't work for you, if what matters isn't working for you, then you can make informed and powerful decisions and new choices. So the thing about MPA, and again, I come into this, I mention MPA and think, there are people who've come brand new to me and I got no idea what I'm talking about. MPA, November Papa Alpha, stands for non-personal awareness. It's a simple process that in one sense helps you stop taking things personally. But that really links to what matters to you, because when you take something personally, what you're doing is you're identifying with you. You're saying, that's me, that is. You're drawing it to you. You're making it matter in some way. So in the MPA process, which I really should say, by the way, you can download for free. If you go to www.beabrillianthuman.com, then you'll find a link there to download the MPA process, get it absolutely free. Or you can go to joelyoungnpa.com. You can get it there as well. It's a simple spoken word process that will, help you stop taking things personally, and so much more than that. But one of the things we have in the MPA process is we have these things called cookie cutters. They're like the key points that the key words or phrases that you use to put into process. But when you learn how to find those cookie cutters, you're actually learning to spot the points of connection, the bits that really matter. And I often say that I have highly developed or highly sensitive cookie cutter ears. In other words, I've got really good at noticing where people are connected to what matters to them, and in fact, where they're not. So each process, when you're doing the MPA process, begins with being connected to what truly matters. The fact that you found what I call animated cookie cutters, you're in an animated space. It means that you're finding the words, the phrases, the expressions that are already connected. That means if they're connected, they have power. They're not just spinning their wheels without the connection. And that's one of the reasons why, an MPA session with me or doing the MPA process can be so impactful, even if it's just a few processes, or even, people look at the process and say it's 6 lines with an empty space, doing that much. How can that be? Well, it's because part of the process is really that process of spotting where the connection is beyond an agenda idea of where it's supposed to be. A very, very different thing. So if you want to manifest the stuff that you say you want, if you want to materialize it in your life, then at some point you'll need to connect to and start moving in the stream of matter as it relates to you now. And through this state of connection and the subjective experience of, the power it brings, that's when great things can occur. Now, sometimes when I share this, I get questions, especially I'm kind of where does this link in with money? So let's talk a bit about that. Or in fact, let me share the questions I get asked and I'll answer them for you. So the questions I get around this normally come back to, how does this relate to money? The whole wealth and matter thing. In fact, I wrote one down. Literally, last time I shared this in some public forum, I got a written question from somebody. So I wrote it down and she said, "I'm confused, Joel. Are you talking about wealth as a connection to abundance or to monetary wealth?" She goes on, "Both matter for more or less everyone, yet, as you clearly state, the lack of the latter might show us that we don't value it as much as other aspects of our lives. How so? Given that the vast majority of people live such monetized lives, how come materializing monetary wealth is so darn difficult?" That bit at the end, so darn difficult. I hear that time and time again from people, especially good-natured people in the people-serving industry. They seem to have this thing with money particularly. So here's what I said back to her. Well, firstly, it's easy to get confused on this one. And I said, I'll answer this as best I can. So our first bit is, are you talking about wealth as a connection to or with abundance or to with monetary wealth? So I say that what I'm doing here is I'm inviting you to investigate. So firstly, to investigate your relationship between them, and then if your story meets the reality, which naturally leads to the second question. It's like, so is your relationship between them meeting the story that you have? Okay, so that goes on to the second part, which is, given that the vast majority of people live such monetized lives, how come materializing monetary wealth is so darn difficult? So here's what I've noticed about that. So for some people, monetary wealth just comes. It's like easy peasy. And for them, it sort of has nothing to do with like the things that we hear all the time, like their work being their passion. Follow your dream and the money will come. Follow your passion, the money will come. I get it. But for a lot of people, that's not the case. It just kind of shows up for them. In fact, some people, whatever they do, have you met these people? If you're someone who has an issue manifesting money, these people probably piss you off. Let's be honest. Whatever they do, they've got that Midas touch. Money just comes. Whereas for other people, they can do all the, in quotes, right things. They follow their dream, but when they look at the balance sheet and they sort of, especially when they start telling themselves, I have to make money. That's the thing. If they start saying, I have to make money, it all starts to feel like a total grind. They have this sort of Herculean effort and pursuit of money, most of which are ineffective. It doesn't work. So the fact is, when their focus shifts to the money, somewhere inside, they die a little. Maybe you can relate to that. Maybe I'm being melodramatic. It made me chuckle. But sometimes that's how it feels, right? So in situation one, the easy peasy people, money truly matters to these lovely people. It's not necessarily attached to a particular task, a purpose, a feeling. It could be, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It's just the neutral truth. So in MPA or non-personal terms, we'd say that money is a primary active energy within their field of awareness. So in simple terms, it means money truly matters to them, so it materializes for them really readily. Now, in situation two, where there's lots of Herculean effort, without much reward when there's a focus specifically on the money. The neutral truth is that on balance, money doesn't truly matter. Now, again, putting that in the terms of non-personal, money is not a primary active energy within their field of awareness. Perhaps it's a secondary or even a tertiary, love that word, tertiary, secondary or tertiary, but it's not the first point of materialization. It's not directly connected to their natural stream of abundance. I'm going to say that again. It's not directly connected to their natural stream of abundance. So, that switch of focus from what truly matters to them to money is where that suffering, stalling, and struggles begin. This happened to me back in about 2012, I think. The business started to grow, and I was following my natural abundance, really focusing on the energy that worked for me, and money was coming in. It wasn't the thing, but it was coming in. Then it became more of a business, and then I was told by people around me, it's getting to be a real business now, Joel. You need to focus on the money. Look at the bottom line. And oh my God, it almost killed the business following that path. A brutal lesson. But that was the thing. When I was following my natural abundance energy, money is in my energy. It's like there's an allowance for money. I don't really have much in the way of anti-money. But if I put my focus on it, if it becomes the thing I'm chasing, oh boy, that's, that doesn't work. It doesn't work in my system. It doesn't connect me to that true abundant flow. So I think of it a bit like, driving a train alongside the railway track rather than on it. When you come away from your natural abundance, it's driving that train off the tracks by the side of the road. It's highly inefficient, very bumpy, it's fraught with danger, and frankly, it's not very clever. So the difficulty for situation 2 people like me, people for whom money isn't the thing, and this answers the question of why people can just manifest money regardless, because the money is the thing. There's not a judgment here of it. It's just like, if that's not you, then you're going to be sort of wound up in that modern cultural mythology about money and money being important as a focus, and all those structures that are built around it. Daily you're going to be bathing in the idea that money matters most and all that kind of stuff, and then you're going to buy into that perspective and stop looking at the reality, stop looking at your local experience and perspective. Again, back to what truly matters to you, what you're truly connected with. So the challenge then is to buck the mythology, and trust that money matters enough to you that it will materialize in support of what truly matters, where the money is required to facilitate that. Which brings us back to the initial inquiry of what truly matters to you. And again, does your story of wealth or money match the reality of your wealth and money? In other words, what's in your bank account, or your sense of flow, or your sense of wealth in your life? So, thinking of the train, I'm going to give you 3 steps that will help you get the train from bumping along dangerously alongside the tracks to back on the tracks, running smoothly in alignment with what truly matters to you. Okay, so let's condense it into 3 steps. So the first one really is what I've been talking to you about this whole episode. Step 1 is get real about what truly matters. Discover the huge wealth of it that you already have and appreciate your natural abundance. So this really does require you to kind of drop your agenda, drop your self-judgment and your confirmation biases, and really look around your life and say, what is it that I already am able to attract a lot of? Now, it can be the stuff of life, but it can also be emotional states or relationships. It's like, really let yourself be wide open as you sort of do this exploration, and sort of make a note of what are the things that seem to come to you very easily. What are the states that you naturally flow with? What are the things that matter to you that actually do show up? Because again, if you say, well, money is really important to me, but I don't have any of it, it's not it. And if it's beyond money, there may be other things. Relationships are really important to me, but I never seem to have one. Well, maybe that's not actually the sort of primary active force within you. So that's step one. Step two is to come to peace with your relationship to monetary wealth as it truly is right now, and understand where it sits in the landscape of who you experience yourself to be. So this one, because I wanted to come into the money part of it, because we can do a lot of fighting with the reality, why isn't there lots of money? Well, maybe it doesn't matter to me, but oh my God, am I going to survive? That there becomes these fights with reality. If you can really come to peace with, it's not first on my list, it's not a big thing, you'll be more able to have that sober inquiry of acknowledging, where it sits in the landscape. In other words, like in my example, I realized the minute I put it top of the pile, things just went tits up, frankly. But I also, when I started looking at it, realized actually it is important to me. It's just that it's like the cart and the horse. If I put money first, I was putting the cart before the horse. But it was definitely part of the tackle, part of my equipment. It was important to me. But in its right place, it would follow along really naturally. So it's good if you can come to peace with wherever you find yourself in relation to money, because then you'll start to discover kind of the relationship between the money part and what truly matters to you. Which brings us to step number 3, which is, once you begin to notice the relationships, you can allow these relationships to evolve in a way that keeps you as connected as possible to your point of materialization, the things that matter, to your sense of abundance and, any of your newly clarified intentions that are sustainable going forward. So again, as we come into this, it sort of opens up this idea of having a relationship to what matters to you. And when it comes to money, your relationship to money. You've got to get clear on where you're at, what your natural abundance sort of flow is. But then, because as the person who asked the question said, it is a very monetary world. It's a kind of an important thing to figure out what your relationship with money actually is. But it may be that it's the primary thing, in which case, hey, fantastic in relation to money. But if it's not, then it's important to see where it sits and then just sort of get an understanding of the relationship. And that's where relational dynamics comes in. And, you could have a shitty relationship with money, or you could have a really good relationship with money. It doesn't mean it's top of your pile, but the nature of your relationship with it is going to affect your experience of it. Just as, the nature of your relationship with anybody in your life is going to affect your experience of them and of you and of the relationship itself. So, as I was thinking about doing this episode this morning, and I started writing out some ideas for it and started thinking, I've talked about this stuff before. It's a good topic. I realized 2 things. Firstly, that, a lot of people could probably use help with these steps. And then I realized that I actually ran a course several years ago that does exactly that and a lot more. I also actually have the recordings. So here's what I've done. I've actually put the recordings. I did this all the day I'm recording this. It's now in the evening. I normally get out in the morning. I actually spent the rest of the time today putting those recordings into the course and making it available so you can get your hands on it today. I was going to say your sweaty palms on it today, but that's terrible. I wouldn't say that. Now I've said it. Your eager hands. That's the thing I was going for, to get your eager hands on it. So if you'd like to hear about this program, how you can get your hands on it, stay with me. If you had enough, fine, jump off. I don't want to sort of hit you with the sales pitch if you're not up for it. But if you can relate to money issues, I think you're going to want to hear this. And so stick around and I'll tell you all about this program that will help you with those 3 steps and a lot more. Okay, so if you stayed with me, thank you very much. That means on some level you're curious or you identify with the idea of having money issues or are not clear on how you're connected to or what really matters to you, and also, in a sense, how that relates to money. So thanks for sticking around. I think you're going to love this. So I ran it several years ago, and it's called the August Abundance Assembly, and I ran it over 4 weeks as a teleseminar. And it's interesting because I also realize it's August now, so it's perfect timing, quite by accident. But what that means is because I've got the recordings and I've put them into this program so you can get access to it online now, that means that you can effectively follow along at your own pace. You know, when you join the August Abundance Assembly and start shifting your money in abundance, it doesn't have to take you those 4 weeks to do it, because I've put it all up. You can have access to it all straight away. You might want to take a day, go through all the stuff, be pretty intense, or you can spread it out and do it, do one module per week, whichever you prefer. And it's hard, of course, it's a non-personal, it's an MPA program. So within it, it's got MPA, but I'll talk you through how to do that. And also it includes really powerful MPA frames that I haven't shared anywhere else. And it's got some very deep inquiries that will help you get clear and congruent about, again, what truly matters to you and how abundance and money flow best in your life. So again, you don't have to take 4 weeks to do it. That's just how I ran it before. The minute you sign up, you get access to all 4 weeks worth of recordings. Now, let me talk you through the 4 weeks that I did, because they've now become the modules. So the first one I've called Your Natural Abundance. So there we focus on literally getting connected to how your manifestation pathways are already functioning beautifully. So, when you do this stuff, the week 1 stuff will give you the ability to become super clear about what truly matters to you, as we've been talking about today, and where the path to your natural abundance lays. So again, you'll see it's following the steps that I've given you today. So module 2, which we did in week 2, I called The Trouble with Money. So this is where we turn our attention to your money energies. Now that's a very non-personal way of looking at it, but it's a really powerful way to look at it. So we bring attention to your money energies, and in that module you'll be identifying and clearing whatever yucky stuff you have attached to money, looking at who you become with money, and ultimately sort of balancing your money energies out until they become crystal clear. So this is a bit like putting your money stuff through in the washing machine. And again, it uses inquiries and specific MPA frames and processes. And by the way, if you're wondering what's an MPA frame, it's kind of it's a really graceful way of getting access to specific areas so you can find things that can be MPA'd really deeply and powerfully. So that's module 2. And in the third one, which we did in the third week, module 3, we start to get relational. Now, I started talking about it, looking at it relationally towards the end there. So in this module, which I've called Your Money Marriage, we get to look at the relational dynamics at play between you and money. We kind of indulge in a little kind of money is from Mars, I am from Venus sort of couples therapy stuff. And really what that module does is it helps rekindle the spark that somehow got lost along the way. We don't start out with shitty stories about money or a shitty relationship with money. But in that module, we really look at what are those relational dynamics. It's a really, really powerful kind of way to look at things. I mean, part of MPA is looking at a situation through the lens of relationship. It is a powerful, actually a really wonderfully healing thing. So this module, I think probably not, it's like kids, we shouldn't have favorites. Well, I think Your Money Marriage, that module, I love that module so much. Really powerful stuff. Then we round it off with module 4, which we did in week 4, where we get to explore a beautiful future for you and money. It's like now that you've really sorted out the dynamics of your relationship to money, where, again, that's where it sits in the landscape of your world. The new wholesome money marriage is going to guide you, and, and it will sort of inform how that wishes to express itself now. And also we'll look at how, you can kind of do some things to really supercharge that energy. Because here's the thing, once you've got all of those pieces in place, I talked about going from having your fingers connected to what truly matters, as distinct from kind of just rushing it through the air. When you've got your finger on the pulse of your abundance and money energies, amazing things can happen. So when you sign up, and by the way, I should tell you already, go, if you like, yes, Joel, give it to me now. All you need to do, if you go to the show notes for today, www.beabrillianthuman.com/96, if you're there, you'll find a link there. If you want to go straight to the page that tells you about it, you can go to www.thempa.academy.com/abundance. And you'll find it there. Just click the button, you can get in. I've actually got an introductory offer on right now. I did it today. I thought, hell, put it out at a bargain. Call it an introductory offer. So if you're hearing this at near the time of it going out, there's a super offer. And if it hasn't got that, then it's still going to be a bargain, because it's a bloody amazing program. Anyway, so here's what you get when you sign up. So you get all the downloadable worksheets for all the prep work and process work. Now, this is a program that has really in-depth work and really in-depth MPA frames. And it comes with, the way I ran it when I did it as a live event, because part of this is you'll be joining those people that went through it on that occasion. They had to do prep work before they got to the call. So you get the sheets for the prep work, and then from the prep work, you go into the process work, which I talk you through, and we kind of discuss it all as part of the call. So that way you get, in the calls, and that's the other bit you get, of course, a recording of all the calls, and I've kind of split them up into easy to digest pieces. I've organized them and made them into sort of navigatable chunks, if you like, because some of those calls are pretty long. So I've broken it down to make it sort of easy to listen to and to jump in and to sort of go back and review any particular bits you want. But on those calls, you get to sort of hear demonstrations of people going through the processes, so you get more of a sense of how it works. You get people sharing their experience, which is wonderful, because you probably had this before, where you go through your own experience in a maybe on your own somewhere. It's great to hear how other people have experienced it. It can give you deeper insights. It can help you feel like you're not crazy. If you have challenges in bits, you'll find other people have had challenges in that same place. That's part of the wonder of it. And I love it. It's kind of like a time machine thing, right? Even though this happened a few years ago, there's a magic around that the people that, as you connect with the people, even though you're not sort of in the time zone of it, it can give you that sense of being supported through it. And speaking of support, the other thing you get is, now that it's in that program that you can buy, the August Abundance Assembly, part of that is there's a comment section. So on every post there's a comment section. That means you can leave your comments, you can share your own experience, for one thing. And if you have any questions that come up as well, you can put them in there. I check in pretty regularly with the comments for the courses, and I'll get back to you, as soon as I can, and answer your questions. It's kind of like a little bit of coaching from me for life, really, or life of the program. So those are the three things you get. So if that sounds like, okay, Joel, I'm in for that. I could do with with kicking the shit out of my crappy money issues, and making my life a whole lot easier, really understanding where money fits in so I can align with my connected wealth and money energies, then go ahead and jump in today. You can get started. If you go right now, click the button on the page. Again, you just need to go to the mpaacademy.com/abundance. You need that www, I think, on that case. Click the button, and there's a 30-day guarantee, so you can just give it a go. All my products have a guarantee where, if it's not right for you, I don't want to take your money. So try it out, but do give it a go. And as I say, there's an introductory price right now, so you go ahead and jump in, and the link is in the show notes. So if you want to get your train back on the tracks of abundance, then go ahead and do it. Again, I think you're going to love it. I've actually really enjoyed revisiting the stuff and putting it up and making it available. I say it's been sat in my archives all this time, and it occurred to me today, do you know what? I think I ought to let other people have a go at this. It was so powerful at the time, and having revisited the work, I look at it and go, that's amazing stuff. So go ahead, jump in. You can go to the show notes for today, beabrillianthuman.com/96. You can go to the mpaacademy.com/abundance. Go grab it. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you have an amazing week. I'll see you next time. Remember, it's the 100th episode and coming up soon. So let me know some of your favorite episodes. Otherwise, I think we're done. Go click that button, grab yourself a copy of the August Abundance Assembly, and then all that remains is to cue the moo.